Hey, Sean. Welcome to the show. How the hell are you?
Good. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my gosh. Thanks for coming down here. This is weird. Like, we have known each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
So even though I would guess you're significantly younger than I am.
32.
32. Well, yeah, I'm almost 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's 8 years difference. Yeah. We could do math. So, we've known each other for a long time, but I am ashamed to admit, I don't know a lot about you, like where you came from, how you got to Kansas City, even if you were born in Kansas City. Did you play college golf? Did you do any of these things?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell our listeners who you are?
Yeah. So I was actually born in Fort Worth, Texas. Lived in Saginaw a little bit. It's northeast of the city, a small town.
Okay.
It's like 15,000, 17,000 people then.
Uh-huh.
So it was a close on Friday night, go watch the football game kind of town. It was pretty cool.
Okay, so Fort Worth is Dallas too,
yes,
right?
Yeah, essentially
So
it's the same city.
Yeah, is there a big divide there? Are people just like, no, I'm from Fort Worth. No, I'm from Dallas.
Not when I was there. It was basically just one big city, essentially. And then Arlington was getting built, so it has the Cowboy Stadium, the Texas Rangers Stadium now, and it was all just one big
We
thing.
drove through it a few years ago, and I've been to Dallas several times, but or Fort Worth. We drove through it, and I remember thinking, like, Arlington is really far away.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not close by any means.
Yeah, it was a fair drive to get down and watch all the sports teams and everything play there. I remember
Did
that.
you go a lot?
To Rangers games.
You did?
We went to a
Okay.
lot. When they had the old ballpark, they have a new one now. It's pretty sweet. But
Were
we
you
went
there?
to one Cowboys game. I remember it was a Vikings game in the old stadium, but not the
new one?
No, that thing looks
The
awesome.
billion-dollar
exactly,
stadium.
with a giant TV in it. Yeah.
That thing is crazy. I don't remember what year. That might have been like 2010 or 11 that was built.
Opened, yeah.
Yeah. And I can remember my sister and brother-in-law went down there, and just the pictures of it were pretty cool. And just like knowing that went like almost the whole span of the field. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
it's
but now
impressive.
you look at like the Raiders stadium, and you're
the
just
Rams and all the Chargers and the Rams stadium, I guess now.
it's just a big one-up game
Yeah.
every time. It's like, oh, you built that, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same thing with technology.
I almost want the Royals to move downtown just to see what they would do because of that. The one-upsmanship. But
oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Oh,
do you want them to move downtown?
I do, yeah.
But not just purely for the one-up thing. You just want them downtown.
I think it'd be cool for them to have their own. And I've gone to a lot of Cardinals games because my wife is from Springfield and St. Louis area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so they're all big Cardinals fans, so they've gone to games and I've tagged along with them.
That's awesome.
And
You've been to the
downtown
new
vibe with the arch in the background and everything is pretty cool. I think that'd be cool.
So you've gone to the, I think what is now Busch 3?
Stadium. Yeah, I don't know which one it is, but with the ballpark and everything, it pretty much lines up how Power and Light does down there.
That's the new one.
Yeah.
That's the new one. Okay, so because I think that's 3. I could be wrong, because there was Busch 1, then there was Busch 2, and now I think that's Busch 3.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because you walk, like, I remember being mesmerized by walking, you're talking about, I think it's Ballpark Park or something.
Yeah,
yes.
Ballpark Village.
Yeah, Park. Okay, yeah. And I remember it's like, oh, that's pretty cool over there. And then I just remember like slowly turning my head to the right and be like, oh my gosh, there's the field.
Right
like,
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
You're like, wow. You're like looking down into it, which was so cool. I don't even know how the heck did we get to St. Louis Cardinals baseball?
Yeah. No, it's kind of like a sin to talk about here, but it's. I mean, it was impressive. It was like a Tuesday afternoon game that I went to, and there's 40,000 people there, and
holy cow,
it's just amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here.
No,
it
not
did.
as much.
2014,
when they're
15.
winning.
Yes, Now it's been tough.
Cardinals bad years, like 90 wins.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
They're spoiled.
So Texas.
Then
Fort
we moved
Worth.
up here when I was 12. My mom worked for Sprint, still works for Sprint, like T-Mobile now.
Yeah.
But when the campus was being built, we moved up here
Oh
when
my
I was 12.
gosh.
So then,
What year was that?
I don't know. Can't do math. Do I remember 2000? No. It
Oh, you're 16?
It was like 98.
Or you're 12?
It's like 98, 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm trying to remember back when that the Sprint campus was built.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was.
Now
Holy
it's just
cow.
a relic.
Well, now you can see, like, I don't know if you've driven by it. We live over by it. Okay,
okay.
So there was always like that giant mound of dirt.
Yes.
They're like leveling it now, and I don't know what they're doing, but something is happening.
Someone bought it.
Yeah.
I can't remember who.
Well, the
Some
city
company bought it out, and they're going to make it like a entertainment venue or something.
Oh, wow.
Last I heard of it.
Holy cow. Well, that in the city of Overland Park, I thought owned it at one point. Maybe they sold it, but
Maybe.
I don't know. People are listening right now and going, these guys are idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't even know what's going on in their own
Yeah,
neighborhood.
exactly. So you moved up here, you're 12. Were you playing golf in
No.
Fort Worth? Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
so I
Now
started,
mm-hmm.
yeah, the golf journey started because it was 8th grade. I remember that. And we had a day off earlier than everyone else in school because we were getting ready to move from elementary to middle school.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And so it was like the senior day, basically, of elementary school. And all my friends went out to play, Pat Macy, Mike McReynolds, all them. So I had nothing to do. And I was like, I'm not going to sit at home all day. So they went to OP to go play, and they invited me. I was like, sure. Pulled out my grandpa's turquoise bag that we had, like teal turquoise bag with persimmon woods and blades. Gosh. And it was brutal. I think I shot like my friend Pat actually gave me the scorecard for that day. He kept it and framed it, and I have it up in my office in my house now. But I think I shot like 160 that day or something ridiculous. I had a par on one. I was like pretty impressed.
Legit par?
Yeah, it was like legit par. And
is that where the love affair started?
Yeah, so Pat was really good, still is really good. He shoots in the 70s pretty consistently. And I was like, I'm not going to lose to him. I'm practicing every day from here on out, and I just want to get good at golf. And so started practicing nonstop, and I was like, this is kind of expensive at the time. Yeah. It was like Tiger's just starting to take off, so the industry's starting to take off.
Holy cow, I hadn't even put that together in my head until you just said that. If that would have been right at his pinnacle, wow.
So it was like
just starting, I guess.
All of a sudden because brother did traveling baseball. My dad coached my brother's traveling baseball teams. We never even thought of golf. Yeah. Like no one in my family does this.
But sports team, you're a sports family is what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, very sports oriented family. But then just started practicing a ton, and I was like, you know what? If I get a job here, it's free.
Yeah.
And so I walked into the office, and Charlie, I don't know if you remember Charlie Schuster.
Yes, I do.
I walked in and was like, hey, are you taking applications? And he hired me on the spot because he needed bodies. And so walked in, and that's how it kind of started.
That's hilarious because that's probably back, so 98, 2000 or so like that, I'm guessing.
It was like 2005.
2005,
so I was getting ready to go into high
prior
school.
To the recession. Prior to the recession. So that was still at the peak of Overland Park just churning through rounds at that time. So I'm not surprised Charlie just hired you right then and there because I was there 98 to 2005 for a brief period of time on the maintenance side though.
Okay.
And I can remember, 5:45 or 5:46 is the first tee time.
Yep.
I mean, it's barely light enough, and there's probably 1 week in the year that they can play and see the ball pretty, because the sunrise comes up at like 5:32 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember being amazed that there were people rip roaring ready to go at 5:46 in the
amazing.
Morning. Yeah.
It was like, and then when they did the wave every day.
Yeah.
And it went away from that. I think they've gone back to it now because of the pandemic because it works out a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time when I started, every wave was full. So the wave setup of being, 2 hours and then shutting it down so you could turn to all 3 courses and then doing it again, shutting it down again. It was full, and we'd have like 20 people in the golf shop waiting with the volunteer having their names on paper, and just if someone didn't show up within 15 minutes of their time, let them in and send them down.
Wow. How many rounds do you think you did annually back then?
Probably like 100 to 120.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think they were eclipsing like 130 at one point. I remember it was like 135, which is just crazy.
A lot. Now they have 4 golf courses, so it's a little skewed that way. There's 39 holes and then the par 3, so you're counting everything. Right. But even still, that's bodies. I mean, essentially walking through the door. So
no other golf course that I know of touches that. Yeah. I mean, you're talking like now I think 2020 was different for a lot of these public golf courses, specifically, Sycamore Ridge. I think they were up like 30% year over year.
I think everyone in the business is. I haven't heard of one course in the area.
That wasn't.
That hasn't actually benefited from the pandemic.
It's crazy.
Is kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's kind of you don't want to be like, I'm so glad it happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
What?
Wait a second.
I do think on that note though, it's pretty cool to sit and think about the fact that this got a lot of people back into the game or introduced to the game. And I think that is something that we'll see the impact of that years down the road.
Sure.
Of it's clearly not when Tiger was, 98, 97 and stuff like that. But speaking of that, have you watched the documentary?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Everyone keeps telling me to do that. It's really weird for me because I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan.
Okay. I don't want
to not watch it.
You need to watch it, and then we need to do maybe another episode, you and I, just talking about it.
That episode.
Because it's interesting. I liked it a lot, but at the same time, it's hard to go back. And sometimes, I thought they focused I don't want to spoil it for you. I thought the negative side of it was maybe too much of a focus, but that's what people want to watch. Sure. So I get that. But I thought it was really funny because my wife watched it with me. And before every time there was something that was going to happen, I could tell her what was going to happen. And I was like, oh, this is when you better. And she's like, how do you know this? And I was like, how does someone not know this?
Yeah. He's a big, a figurehead of just not in golf, just sports in general. Yeah. I mean, he's the LeBron and Brady and everyone's watching every single move of what they do.
He was like the top. It was like the top paid athlete for like 12 years or something. Like,
yes, he's a golfer.
Yes,
I mean that's impressive.
The endorsements and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I mean, I hadn't really seen all and you'll enjoy it when they go back and when he's like first goes to Nike. Okay. I hadn't really seen. I think I was too young because I was only like 15.
No social media back then.
Yeah, I was only 15, 16, and that was pretty interesting to relive that but kind of seeing behind the scenes for that. So I think you'll enjoy that as someone who is a Tiger fan and a Nike fan. Yeah. But that was pretty cool.
It's kind of like the Michael Jordan aspect of seeing all that stuff because he came in probably like towards the tail end of his dominance was when I was born.
Oh my
gosh!
I didn't know
anything before then.
Yeah,
I was born in '88.
Yeah,
and so that's when he was winning the first 3-peat, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that beforehand, like North Carolina, I didn't know any of
Holy
that.
cow!
So watching that documentary, was
The Last
cool.
Dance. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. We binge watched that. I think we got it done in like 2 or 3 days.
I watched every episode live because it was just entranced.
Yeah. I think we waited till. No, we watched it on ESPN. I think we watched it on wasn't it on ESPN? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Originally, I think it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix now. And I remember like after we watched it on ESPN, I was like, oh, we could have waited to watch it on Netflix.
And binged it all the way through, right?
Yes. It's like I can't I can't wait a week. Yeah. I can't wait a week to watch this. Yeah. But that's crazy. Yeah. Overland Park, and then good gosh, where do we go? I don't even know where to go from here. But to keep going. Did you play in college?
Yeah. So I actually got a couple of offers to play in college. I went on a couple of trips, and they were small colleges.
Wait. Let's back up a second. Okay. We jumped way too far. Yeah, sorry, that's my fault, not you. Yeah. You started playing. Mm-hmm. You went out that element between senior day, elementary, and you started playing. What happened from there? Like you just practiced all the time?
Fell in love, yeah. Okay. It was like nonstop practice. Of course, there's no kids, no wife, no responsibilities.
Right.
At that point, it's a part-time
do whatever
job.
You want. Yeah.
Yeah. So you take days off and you go practice.
Yeah.
And try to do it still as much as I can, but it was just practice every day to get better. I was
and you
watching
played
videos, watching. We were even like Pat, my friend Pat, had stuff in his garage. We'd hit balls in the garage and have an old school video camera, and we'd videotape it, go in the house, turn it on, do slow mo. I mean, it was whatever we
Obsessed.
could do to get better. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What you played in high school?
No, I tried out so I got kind of a late start with it because I was still baseball, golf oriented.
Okay. Yeah.
So I tried out 2 years. The last 2 years, I tried out for baseball the first 2.
Yeah.
Didn't make baseball, and then I tried out for golf the last 2. So it was junior, senior.
Mm-hmm.
So the team at East was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Junior,
Olathe
senior
East.
year, yeah.
It was really
East.
Good. Okay.
Andrew Shale, Joel Thomas, a lot of guys that went and played college golf.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were stacked all the way down through JV. So I would have to basically shoot a under par score to make myself stand out.
Exactly. Who's that guy?
And I think I shot in the 30s a couple times, maybe low 40s in tryouts for high school, but didn't end up making it because they had to make cuts. And
which is good. I mean, what you're shooting is good, but that's not typical. You
look at it now, and it's kind of like, I'm really proud of what I did, but at the time, you just think about you getting cut.
Yeah, you're like, dang it. Yeah. I'm not good enough. And you are good enough. You just weren't good enough for them. Yeah.
That's golfers in a nutshell, right?
Yes.
It's like you hit levels, but you're always looking to get better. If anyone ever asks if you're good at golf, you always say no.
No, I could be better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's it. Well, it's like this weird psychological game that we play all the time as golfers is we get done with a round and we immediately start processing what we could have done differently.
Yeah. Instead of what went well, it was like what could have been better.
Yes. Yeah. And your swing thoughts, like I can I know like my drive home. It's like I'm thinking of different different swing mechanics. Ooh, I should try that. And then you get home and you're like, dang it, I need to go back out of the course and try this.
Go to the range immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Find the one.
Need a range in my backyard. It's not possible. But so you didn't play in high school.
Didn't play, wanted to, didn't play. Then in college, I was like, okay, I want to play in college.
Yeah.
And tried out, like I said, a couple small schools that offered me to play, but it wasn't a full ride. And I'm paying for college. I was funding for college, which is, again, something back then I was like mad at my parents for, but now I'm really happy that they did it because I don't have the...
Taught you something?
Yeah, exactly. But I decided to stay at JUCO and actually did music at JUCO.
What?
So I got a full scholarship to play trumpet and jazz band and concert band at JUCO.
Wow.
And got my business admin degree there.
Holy cow.
For 2 years while working at OP. And then after the 2 years were done there, I was like, you know what? I think I want to make golf my career.
Wow.
And jumped into the PGA.
Yeah.
And that was just about when Kurt took over both operations of the golf courses. Yeah. And he offered me an assistant's job, a full-time assistant's job.
I remember that.
Instead of being just like a manager like I was before.
Uh-huh.
And took that, and part of the benefits of that position was that he paid for the education. So
nice.
It's just went through the PGA and ended up becoming a Class A professional in about, I think it was 2008.
Holy cow.
I became a Class A professional.
You beat me.
So,
I never got through it.
Really?
Yeah.
It took me like 6 years to do level 1, and you get 8 years to do it.
Yeah.
I was just like, OP is so busy, and you're trying to find, the free time to do it. And it finally got to crunch time, and I was like, okay, can't procrastinate anymore, or they're going to kick me out.
Yeah.
And then I think from level 1 to level 3 took me 2 years. So it took me 6 years
like,
to do level 1.
Yeah.
And then level 2 and level 3, I just breezed through it.
I just remember thinking, now you were you in college at that point then?
No, so I got the business admin degree at JUCO, and then I was like, I'm going to make golf full-time.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Gig.
So I can remember thinking, I had gone to college. I graduated in 2005, and I got into the apprentice program, and I was like doing my level 1. And I feel terrible saying this, but I just remember having this like tremendous amount of, I've gone through college. What the heck am I doing?
Why am I doing this
Yes,
again?
exactly.
Yeah.
And not, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because it's a challenging program. It's not like it's easy by any means, but I just remember it was like going back to high school. It felt like I was just like, this is so, and I hate to say this too, but it wasn't helpful to me. Like it like the first level 1, I felt like it was just all common sense. It was like the whole time.
Yep.
Again, sorry PGA of America.
I think with level 1, they're trying to
say, a weed out. It's a weed out program.
Exactly. Yeah. They want to say, okay, who's really serious about this and who's not? Who's going to spend the money to get through it and actually, bear through it and get
But there was no option back then to go to like a PGM school well, there might have been PGM schools, but they were drastically separated from the PGA of America.
Okay.
So you couldn't go down, like going down to Florida and doing the like expedited class thing of being down there for 2 weeks or whatever. I don't know what it really is, but
a week,
it's like a week. That didn't exist.
Okay.
And so that was frustrating to me, because I felt like that's what I would have gone and done, is been like, I'll go down there and knock this out really quickly.
Yeah.
Instead, it was like, here's this giant binder that weighed 500 pounds, it felt like. And it was like, I just remember looking at that thing, and it was like 4 inches thick. And I was just like, and I have to put stuff in here?
I remember that because Mike Tanner, who was my director of golf at OP, and actually came from Milburn at the time, he had those books and gave them to me as because of reference.
Yes.
But it changed completely. So there was stuff in it that was relevant, but it was something completely different. So
I
it's
had
not like
to say,
I could copy it down and do it. But
I had the same situation. Somebody had given me theirs, and I'm like, there's nothing in your books that is the same of what I'm looking at.
They do a good job with that. It's just like you can't copy stuff over and call it
it's
good.
like, thanks for nothing. Yeah, exactly. I still have to read.
I got lucky because Jennifer Clark, who's at St. Andrews now, the head pro at St. Andrews now, we went through the program together. Yeah. And so we kind of bounced off the ideas back and forth, which was good because we went through the program and got through it together.
I think that's what has changed a lot in it, is people realize there's a lot of people going through the same thing, and that's a great society. And social media is so much better. I mean, I'm sure there's like Facebook groups for it and stuff like that.
There is,
and that's a really good thing to say or think about, is the fact that you should utilize those support mechanisms. There's people that are trying to do the exact same thing that you're trying to do, or someone that might have I don't want to say easier way to do it, but just a different perspective. Everyone gets stuck in something in life, whether it's just like writer's block or like with your my golf swing. I would say my golf swing, it's like so far, it's like I had taken it so far. Well, it took like one person to say something a little bit different or a different swing thought. It changed everything. And so, I think that's a really good point of having support and reaching out and having a society to talk about. That's pretty cool that you had somebody to do it with.
Like you said, we all have different strengths. I mean, I feel like I'm really good at writing customer service, but Jim was analytical. So when you get to like the the food and beverage side and the cards. I mean, just checking and saying like, did you get kind of the same thing? And then having the confidence to send it in and go, because you still have to make your own, tables based on if you do private or public on the course selection. And then you're making your own videos for teaching. So it's not like you can copy someone's teaching, but you have to be in there with
just
your
put
students.
your face on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Talk about that. How'd you make your own videos? Did you utilize OP or did you go somewhere? Okay.
So lucky for me, I mean, we're in that age where phones, you could record on your phone and do it that way. So we had the, like tripod stands. You could, as long as it wasn't a windy day, you could put the phone up there and basically just
did he say?
Exactly. Yeah, they just wanted to hear it. But as long as you hit record and just record the whole session, you send it in. It had to be like less than 30 minutes, I think. And they had keys they wanted you to hit on. Yeah. So if it was a single lesson or like a group lesson, they were like, show a video of you giving this type of aspect.
That's pretty
kind
cool.
of thing. And then you'd send it in, they grade it and test and move on. Same thing for each level, but each level had different categories, I guess.
Any fun bloopers or any?
I'm sure there was. Okay. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure there was ones like that blew over, or like a blooper reel video. Might be a good idea for someone to send that
absolutely. That's hilarious. I know I have plenty from recording this podcast and stuff where it's just like, oh gosh, I left the camera on for those things. That's awesome. So we're what, about 2010 or 11 in your career, and you were, how long were you at OP?
So fully from when Charlie hired me until just last April, it was 16 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it was the only job I had. I umpired for a little bit when I was like 14 or 15. I don't really count that as first job. Right. But from 15. Still,
it's a job.
It was a job. But
don't discredit yourself. You learned a lot there. I can tell.
I did learn a lot there. Well, the parents are competitive, even if it's 5-year-old kids playing t-ball.
You grew up real quickly, and that's what it's like, hey, you blind up. You're like, I'm 16.
Yeah, it's like
leave me alone.
They're 5 years old. They don't even know what's going on. They don't know what the score is. It was just brutal stuff.
They don't even know to run to first when they hit the ball. Calm down.
Yeah. And then so I was like, okay, that's not for me. Gonna go work at the golf course. But 16 years at OP.
That's amazing.
It was basically my only job that I've had.
Well, you learned a lot, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What a place to be thrown into the fire.
I think that's good though. I mean, you think about it, it's, you go to college and you don't know really what to expect when you're going to get into a career. You think you know what you want to do, but to actually just do it day by day. Yeah. Experience far outweighs, for me at least, experience far outweighs, studying to me. Like you, I'm just a visual learner. Like I have to do something. I have to do it before it really ingrains. Like in college, I would go to all my classes, and then before a test, I'd recopy all my notes. Sure. For whatever, if it was like the last 4 weeks or whatever, I'd just go back to the library and I would just recopy, kind of put my own little words and stuff like that. The hardest part about it was reading my handwriting. Yeah, It was impossible. I was like, what the heck am I saying here? That's not even English. There'll be people that say that with my handwriting, it's so neat and meticulous now.
Yours?
Where before it was terrible. It was so bad. And that's what I tell them is I couldn't read my own notes. I had to learn how to write.
I can't even tell you the last time I've really taken handwritten notes because we're digital age. Yeah. Like everything is done on a computer or on a phone or an iPad or a tablet. I guess I should say
just
tablet.
Talk into it.
And dictation on everything. It's like, what the heck? Well, that's crazy. Yep. Okay, so you're at Milburn.
Now. Yes. Yeah, as of last April, so it hasn't even been a year yet.
Holy
Still
cow.
Fresh.
That's awesome. You
cool.
love it?
I do. Yeah.
How awesome. Is it pretty different compared? I'm sure it's very different.
Yes and no. Yeah. It's so. I mean, I had 16 years of public experience. Yeah. It wasn't a job that I wasn't looking, but I wasn't going to leave OP just for any job. It had to be the right one. Mm-hmm. I knew Luke from playing in the section championship, who's the director of golf at Milburn now, and really liked him. And he's got a lot he's taught me in even 8 months or 7 months, whatever it's been. I feel like I've grown exponentially.
Well, what a year for it to be able to probably really concentrate on it.
And it was April, so the course is shut down in March, and then the pandemic's in full bore, and I'm starting April 1st at a new job. And
do I still have a job?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, are we open? And I walked in, the clubhouse was closed, and people were, knocking on the window to get their stuff, and if they had bag storage, we were giving them the bag but not taking it back, and there was just a lot of things going on. So
that's crazy.
But it was good. It went really well.
Yeah. I can remember going out to Sycamore right after they reopened after the pandemic. It kind of had closed everything, and Clayton was on, And he talked about there was like a 2-week period where they were like going to close down and they were like going to sterilize everything, and they were potentially going to reopen if the city or the government would allow them, or the state. And I can remember going out there, and if you've ever been out there, they have like long, tall windows.
Yep.
And one of the windows was just open, and there's still a screen there, and they're like, "Hey, how's it go? Yeah, you can go on out there." It was just so weird.
It was.
Yeah.
It's like the last 2 or 3 weeks at OP. We had a week where we closed, and they sterilized everything. They came in with the smokers, and they did all that stuff, cleaned it all out, and then we had, the clubhouse was locked, so we were doing payments over the phone. So the phone's ringing like every 5 seconds, literally.
Yeah, you're trying to, hello,
you're doing 18-minute intervals. You're doing,
Yeah.
A bucket of balls outside after they pay, putting their receipts on it with their name, and it's getting sprayed down, and
Wow.
all that's happening right before I'm getting ready to move to Milburn. So it was interesting. It's not something I think I'll experience again, but it was a good life experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, people in our generation, and I would classify us as in the same generation, even though we're a little different in age, but we've never experienced anything like this. We had the Great Recession, which was in 2007, 8, 9, 10. But that wasn't like that. I mean, it was bad. I don't want people to think that I'm saying it, but like not like this.
Yeah.
This shut the country down.
It's still going on.
It is. It's crazy.
Almost a year later now.
Yeah.
We're still,
I think it was March for us. Well, okay, March 12th was when the Big 12 champion or the Big 12 tournament was going to be going on. And that was, I remember my wife texting me and being like, they just canceled the Big 12 tournament.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, whatever. Sure they did. I'm like, oh, I'm sure they canceled one game. Yeah. But no, then it was like, bam, everything just like canceled after
dominoes.
that.
I remember that was like one day you're watching Rudy Gobert in the NBA, like joking around, rubbing the mics, and then he tests positive. And it's like the whole league is shut down.
We're going into a bubble.
And it was like, what happened? Yeah. It was just in a blink of an eye. It went so quick. And then, the stay-at-home order, it had... I think recreational activities, but it never like specifically said shut down golf. It was just essential or not essential businesses. So you had the week of, well, are we away or are we away?
Are we open? Are we not?
Does golf really need to close because it's an individual sport? You're touching your own equipment. You're outside. You can space out over acres of land, and so it was. Yeah,
it wasn't. I know. I remember feeling. Guilt, probably not the right word, but going out pretty quickly after the courses had opened, and I just remember thinking like, is this right? Yeah. Should I even be doing this? Yeah. And for me, it was more the fact that, you were hearing the news of how many people were losing their jobs and unemployment, and I'm like, here I am
playing golf.
Yep. And okay, so I remember just feeling really odd, but at the same time needing it too, because and I can say now, after almost a year of doing it, I've worked at home. I come down to the office every now and then, but we've been at home since for now 10 months.
Yeah.
You don't realize that like when you're at, I'm sure you do, but like you don't realize when you're at home, and my wife is an essential employee, so she was gone every day. So it's just me at home talking to 2 dogs. Yeah. And like the cats would walk by every once in a while.
Sure.
There were no conversations had except on Zoom with company people. Well, 9 hours of Zoom meetings a day and not physical contact with people is hard. Yeah. It will test you mentally.
I was glad I had somewhere to go because it would drive me crazy. And plus to stay motivated too when you have, no one's around. So it was like you could go play video games or do something one time. But it was.
So what was it like being there in Milburn, with no, were you guys, were members coming in or?
So they weren't allowed in the clubhouse, but they were just, it was like OP basically. I mean, like at OP, we had the 18-minute intervals and doing full tee sheet. And as soon as that tee sheet opened, 5 seconds after it opened, it was booked.
Wow.
There was no open time. So if you didn't call within the first 5 seconds, you were out.
Dang.
And then moving to Milburn, it was the same way. They saw they moved to 18-minute intervals and then slowly went back to kind of normal as the months went on.
9, 10 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is.
I mean, they were seeing, numbers that for me weren't that crazy because I'm used to it.
It's 100 people today.
It was like, so when I first started, we were probably at like 180 or 190 throughout the day because the days were getting longer. Yeah. And then in the summer, we were at 280 some days, which is for an 18-hole facility is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Sycamore was pushing those numbers too. And that's where pretty crazy. Yeah. I think 2019 on their peak days, maybe 200
Okay.
maybe 180.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Sycamore knows better than I do, but that was 2019. I would say under 200 was a busy day.
Yeah.
And then they were pushing over 300 sometimes.
Yeah.
And because it just never, like, I remember being out there and playing like maybe midday.
Sure.
And you'd come in and it would be like 4 or 5 o'clock. And typically there's not really, I mean, there's people there, but they're typically out on the golf course. There's not a lot of people teeing off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Not normally.
Yep. It was like all the way until like 7 p.m. that they were like, we're jam packed. And I was just like, wow. So it was crazy.
Yeah. We even had people do that. Cause I mean, when you go on there's a different way that they have it formatted with the golf course where you can kind of sneak in 3 holes and come right back to the clubhouse. So
gotcha.
Like you said, there'll be people teeing off at 6 to go play 3 or 4 holes.
Yeah.
And call it good.
And I think that's great. Like I encourage that for people. It's like, listen, now it's, members can go do that.
Sure.
You can't go to a public golf course and it's really hard to do that. But OP tried that at one point.
They still, I think, do it.
Is it the dollar
per
a
hole? Yeah. And I think it's like $9 with a cart and you can go play just basically until, it gets dark.
That's amazing.
But yeah, there's different initiatives. I mean, the industry itself got innovated once that hit too.
Yeah.
That happened before the pandemic with their idea there.
Well, and sorry, I keep going. You were at OP for 16 years, so I keep going back there. I'm sorry.
No,
Milburn is great, but talk about the clubhouse, the new clubhoce, and what was that like? That whole change.
Last couple of years have been a little interesting.
Yeah. That was great. I remember going out to the clubhouse. First off, from my perspective, I think it's really cool what it does for the game.
Yeah.
Like it gives people a spot. Now, I'll tell a quick story about why I thought it was so cool. So I went to Amarillo, Texas with my sister and brother-in-law with my wife, and we went down there to visit their parents, my sister-in-law's parents. And they live, I think it's south of Amarillo.
Okay.
And so there's an 18-hole par 3 golf course out there. And it's the only golf course. There's probably golf courses around there, but it's the closest one to them.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot out there. Like there's a bunch of homes, but there's not a lot of restaurants or anything like that. Well, the owner of the golf course converted the clubhouse into a bar and grill.
Okay.
And everyone was there.
Really?
Like everyone that lived by.
Right,
yes.
yeah.
And so like I had experienced that and I was like, wow, that was really cool. And then that's right after I got back from that trip is when OP was getting ready to open, or Sykes, I should say Sykes Lady. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sykes Lady was getting ready to open that thing, and I just was like, they get it. It's like if there's not a lot of things for people to go do that, you've created a destination for people to come other than to play golf.
Yep.
But it was still focused around golf to some degree.
Absolutely.
But I thought it was, from my perspective as a consumer, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it brought people that don't play golf. I mean, you would see like the bankers and everything else from around the golf course there come eat lunch there.
Yeah.
Because the view and the garage doors opening up and having it opened air and everything, it was a really cool concept. They did a good job with it.
They did. The first time I walked in, I will say this, and I think this is a fine feeling. I didn't know where to go. Yeah. Like you feel like you're walking into a restaurant.
Brand new, right?
Yeah. You're like, where do I check in? Where do I buy golf balls?
Yep.
And you figure it out. But I like the fact that they took the traditional way of looking at a clubhouse and kind of threw it out the door.
Yep.
And it was just like, no, this is about this becoming more of a place for people to come, not just strictly golf.
Yeah.
So,
and right when you walk in the doors, the restaurant's the focus. This is the first thing you see, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that's what it's driven.
There's a hostess stand right there. Yes. Yeah.
And then the pro shop's to the right, but but you run into it and you can see everything there. And then when you walk out the doors, you can just see the golf course, and it's cool. But it's funny that when it first opened up, the things people commented on, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, look at the 74 TVs, or that's like 12. Sean exaggeration. In the bar, or the fireplaces that were in there, anything else. Was like, whoa, the bathrooms are really nice. Yeah. It's like that was like the first comment we got every time. It was like out of everything.
Well, you have to admit the ones that were there before were pretty.
Sure, it's a public golf course built in the 70s.
Yes,
right? So
it was.
I mean,
the countertop was plywood.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you have granite countertops and closed bathroom stalls and tiles, and I mean it was that. So that was like the main thing. People walk in and the bathrooms are amazing. So that was pretty funny. And then it's the restaurant, everything else.
Yeah.
But I remember even when we opened up, and it was like in the middle of June when it finally got done because of the winter being terrible.
Yeah.
And going out to play, and you come up 3, and there's just people packed on the patio.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a tour event almost because you can hear people kind of placing bets on you.
Yeah, let's see, they're going to hit the green.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to have that atmosphere there. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
it's definitely like here for me, having not been there for 10 years, the trees around number 1 South looked ginormous compared to what they used to be.
Yep.
And then the view down 3, what you're talking about towards the lake, over where you tee off over the lake and you come up the hill. Yeah. It looked, I couldn't, like, first off, it's such a, I was trying to figure out where the old putting green was still. And like, in my head, I was like, okay, so that would have been like there. No. And it was so different. Yeah. Like I remember like just the trees around number 1 South. I was just like, those have grown immensely. Like, cause you could barely see the tee box.
Yeah.
And like, I remember from where the old clubhouse was, you could see that easily.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, where the heck? It just seems so weird.
And that one tree that was right there got hit by lightning and it came down. And so it kind of opened up the view a little bit more, I think unintentionally. So that's one day I remember because I was in the clubhouse when that thing got hit. And it was the loudest noise I've ever heard in my entire life. It freaked us all. I think the girls that were working the shop like ducked there because it was loud.
Oh, I bet. I've been around a few lightning strikes and it is way louder than you think it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the sound is generating from where it's hitting. And you're just like, whoa.
I think that's one thing after seeing that. Golfers tend to be a little, they're like, it's not going to hit me. And they'll stay out there as long as they can with lightning delay. But after seeing that thing hit the tree, I was like, took it seriously from then on out.
That's the one thing I will say is the people I play golf with, they take storms seriously. Yeah. Like the minute it starts raining, it's like, we're going in. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's at the private club level at Milburn, when you blow it, they come in and they're like, hey, what's going on? They take it seriously, come in. I feel like on the public side, it was like they would kind of question you because you blow the horn before the storm comes in, right? So it'd be like sunny outside and they're like, what are you blowing the horn for?
Yeah, there's nothing around.
It's coming in. Yeah, we're trying to give you time to get out the golf course.
If you don't realize this, the West Links is really far away. Yeah. It's not like a short walk.
Yeah, so it was always interesting how people took that.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can remember going to the clubhouse for the Sykes Lady Clubhouse for the first time and sitting on the back patio. We ate some food there. We drank some beers and then we had a putting contest until like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
However late we could stay. I think we ended up staying and we were putting on those artificial greens on the back, which was just so much fun.
Even thinking about that, they put those in because of frost delays,
so people could putt.
Yeah, so people would putt and warm up and chip and have something to do while they were waiting for it to, frost. So they thought of almost
everything. It was really cool. But when I was there, I wish I could remember what it was. The garage doors on the bottom.
Yeah.
That was still vacant. There was nothing in there.
Okay.
There was sheetrock and stuff, and it had been painted, but there was nothing down there below. I think that's like the practice area or the lessons.
Yeah, the indoor facility. And I think they take it down like they did before the maintenance shed.
Okay, yeah.
And that's like where the junior tournament scoreboard was when we first did it. We put that down there, and we had everyone walking in and out of there. And so
that's
it was a cool little
area.
area.
Okay, so it's not it wasn't strictly designed for the practice facility. It was kind of multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, so you could have an event down there.
Yep. Or meetings. And so like Henderson had big events there, and they had 260 people, and Ashray had a bunch of people where they used all 3 nines.
Wow.
You could basically fit everyone around and then do announcements from the AstroTurf green. And so if you're on the patio or down below, you could hear everything.
You can hear fine.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's slightly different than Milburn, I would say. Yeah.
Which is, I think it's good that I have both of that now for my career. I don't just have one, that I moved over, and now I'm going to have both experiences because it's the same, but it's different.
Yeah, very much. It's interesting because in I think Milburn, there's some characteristics of the course that are very similar to OP to me. Of it's a shorter course. Milburn, it's not an immensely long golf course by any means.
They're it's a good mix. It's a really cool layout.
Yeah.
If people haven't played it, it's the front end has 3 par 5s, 3 par 3s, and then 3 par 4s. Yeah, so it's even out.
Yeah.
And then the back 9 starts out. It has I think 5 par 4s to start off with. I think I haven't played it a billion times already.
Are you familiar with the course?
Right, yeah, exactly. And then the par 3, par 5, par 4. So it's got more par 4s and just 1 par 3 and par 5 in the back.
Oh yeah.
And so number 2 is a really cool hole because it's 600-yard par 5, and you have to be on
Is that the one that runs along 71st?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you have to be on the right-hand side of the approach shot, or else that tree blocks out your shot. And so the thing about Milburn is it's not very long, like you said, but it teaches you how to play golf more because the rough's high.
Yeah.
Greens are quick. If you put yourself in the rough, then there's almost no shot because you're either under trees or you're in tall rough.
Right.
And so you have to be a little more about where am I placing the golf ball in the right spots. Where at OP, it was just like, I'm going to hit the ball far. Wherever it goes, it goes. Right.
Slam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's what it's for. It's for people who are beginning and trying to get pace moving.
Yeah.
Where you're worried about that at the private club, but not as much. But it's cool because it's taught me how to play golf better, more efficiently than what I was at OP.
Your dispersion rate has to come in a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's. I don't know if it's 100% a shot shapers course. I would say it's close.
You just have to be in the right spots. Not necessarily have to hit all the shots, but you better be in the correct spot. Because like I said on 2, if you're in the left part of the fairway, you can't go over that tree and get on the green. Yeah, I mean, you basically are bailing out to the right, hoping you chip up and down.
Gosh, I haven't played it in so long, but we used to practice there in high school.
Really?
And I can remember because one's left of the driving range, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Short par 4, but again, it's like you can either go at the green or you can just go bail out to the right.
Yeah, hit it right. There's bunkers on the right from what I remember.
The one fairway bunker.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's a big tree on the left, so if you put it on the left-hand side, you have no shot at the green.
I can remember that, like hitting 3-iron off of there and being like, people being like, oh, it's too far left. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you get down there like, dang it, I can't hit it at the green.
It's nothing more defeating. You get like a 120-yard shot,
Yeah,
which is like a one shot, and you can't go for the green
tree
at all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You have to hit a punch shot.
Yeah, it's the perfect height that I can't go over it. Dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't think I wouldn't classify it as, but it's amazing because I'm sure it's there's probably 4 is said a lot less at Milburn than it probably is at Sykes Lady because people are more accurate at Milburn, but it's a much tighter golf course together.
Yeah.
So
so
it's I can remember like you're right next to each other almost the entire course.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of wasted space there.
No, because you run into the halfway house 3 or 4 times as you're coming around, but it's really well laid out. It's such a cool golf course. Yeah. I love it.
And there's still some undulation. I mean, there's still some topography, I guess.
Yeah,
to
the
where
greens are really good. I mean, the greens, there's areas on the greens that are so good you can't even put a whole location on because it's so severe of a slope. So you have to watch where you're putting different things.
Oh my God. Very different than OP. Yeah. There were a few places at OP, but not all of them.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. Or I keep saying OP. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Sykes Lady. Yeah. That's what it was for me, though. I grew up with it. OP.
Everyone calls it OP, basically.
Yeah. But it's Sykes Lady. Yeah. That's what it is. Yep. But yeah. That's crazy. So what are you working on your game, man?
Yeah. A lot. So more mental stuff than physical. Yeah. It's interesting because, like I said, at OP, I didn't really think about. I thought more technical.
Yeah.
I thought more about swing thoughts and everything, and now it's more mental. It's trying to delve into more of the mental side, and then short game is huge out there.
Yeah.
So short game has been like the focus of my practice, and a lot of stuff I tell the members too. It's 75% practice. If I have an hour, 75% of it's short game. It's putting or chipping and hitting pitch shots and getting creative and hitting out of the rough and hitting out of the sand. And they have a really cool practice area at Milburn. That's a short game area. You can go practice all that stuff out. So, but the mental aspect is something that I feel like I'm weak on now, but trying to get better. I don't show it well. It's like a happy person all the time, but it gets so frustrating when you how you think about the game and
totally.
what you go through.
I've had that mental struggle for like 6 years. It's like being mentally tough. I mean, like if you hit a bad shot or something, it's funny because you probably have the perfect personality. Outwardly, you're not showcasing how frustrated you are inside, but inside you're just like, there's like a rage going on inside when you hit a bad shot, and it's so hard to just move on. Like, and it's funny because the rounds that I sit there and think about the fact that like I don't remember them, or I do remember them, but it's like they go by so fast, or it's like, oh my gosh, I'm even. Like you don't even realize it. That's when you're playing you're not. It's not like you're not focused.
Sure.
But you're not thinking about every aspect of your game constantly during a round.
Yep.
I'm not saying not to do that.
Sure.
I think everyone should still be very mentally focused, but you do at some point have to realize you play the game, to me at least.
Yep.
And then there's practice.
Yep.
And you can't be practicing while you're playing.
No, not if you want to play well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think people struggle with that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle, they're going out there and like, oh, let me try this for now. Let me see if this works, let me move my hip just a little bit more or draw my right foot back. And you're just like, this is not the place to do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And even just thinking about, like next 2 holes are birdie holes, and Milburn sets that up really well. That's why it's such a good golf course, because like par 3 is on the front side, all 3 of them are 190 yards or longer from the tips, and then you get to the backside, and it's 300-yard par 4, like 350, and then it's 120-yard downhill par 3, and then a drivable par 4 right at the end, and a par 5, and so you're like, okay, I can go on a streak here.
Yeah.
But you're thinking ahead. You're like, okay, the next couple holes are birdie holes. I'm 3 or 4 over. I can get it back to even, and not thinking about the moment and what you have in front of you. And so that's the tough part that I struggle with, because I'll be like, okay, I got a chance I can go on a streak here, and then you make a par, and you're like, this is disappointing.
It's supposed to be a birdie.
Yeah.
I'll just write down birdie.
What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like hit it to it 10 feet, miss the birdie putt, and it's like, oh, this is deflating. And so that's
and that's the thing I think so many amateurs or non-professionals forget to focus on is, I've said to my wife, I'll come home and she's like, how'd you play? And I'm like, I didn't score well, but I hit the ball pretty good. And I think that's a really hard thing for people to separate, specifically what you just said.
Yeah.
Of you missed the 10-foot birdie putt.
Yep.
Big whoop-de-doo. Did you hit it how you wanted to hit it?
Exactly.
Did you execute it the way
had to, right, to get to that point?
Exactly. You trust it. Like, it'd be one thing to sit there and you missed the birdie putt, and it was because you like had a muscle spasm in the middle of it.
Sure.
Like, and you shoved it 10 feet to the right instead of hitting it at the hole. And that's what I think some people don't stop and think about is, did I execute it the way that I had envisioned? Did I stop for a second and say, this is my line, this is the speed I want to do it, and then sit back and go, okay, I did execute it the right way.
Yeah.
So, and but I think people have to get to that level of understanding of,
part of growing.
that's how you have to judge
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And I think what I heard you saying is like, you have a game plan. You're going into maybe not all 18 holes, or maybe you are of how you're going to start, but that game plan has to be fluid, or has to be agile, because you don't know what's going to happen on the first hole.
Right. Yeah. And rarely do you have time when we're going out to play.
Yeah.
And Luke does a really good job at this that I've never had before, is that he expects you to go play weekly with members, and is
that's awesome.
practicing, and is openly cool with it. And so he's always asking how your game is. He's very on top of that, which is cool. It's an awesome thing for a director of golf to have, because normally it's just so business orientated. So to have that conversation,
you're here to check them in and get them clubs.
Yeah. What? Yeah, and that's all part of it. But to have like those 10-minute conversations a day of like, what would you do in this scenario and all that, because he's a really good player. I mean, a very consistent player. He won't admit it, but he really is. And he's been through a lot more tournament golf than I've played. I think I've played probably 15 tournament rounds I've been in the business for 16 years and played in 10 tournament rounds because OP was so busy. Yeah. Right. And now clubs close on Monday. Most of the section events are Monday. I'm playing a little bit more.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Did they have it? 2020.
They started late in 2020, but I ended up playing like 5 or 6 section events, which was like triple what I would have done in the past. I would have played in like 1.
So your 15 rounds, 6 of them came in 2020.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's awesome. How'd you do? Sorry.
So the first one, I was a little hurt, but I didn't like to admit that to anyone, so I just went out and bared through it and didn't play very well. It was at Creekmore.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's a tough one.
I love that golf course, but it was bad. I bounced on the trampoline with my kids the day before. At a birthday party, just because I have 4-year-old now, or 3-year-old, almost 4. And so I was playing around with him, woke up the next day, and my hips were brutal. I had like no movement at all. So it was
so stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
stretched.
the next one was section championship after that. And at the time, the year before, I had shot my best round in the section championship at Firekeeper. I was 78. And wanted to do better this one. We went to Twin Oaks, Missouri.
Okay.
And it's a little bit shorter course. It's kind of like Milburn, a lot of trees, but shorter, and you have to hit in the right spots. And first round, I think I shot 81, and I remember I was like, I 3-putted 6 or 7 greens.
Ugh,
and
the worst.
Yeah, it was like, I was right there. So we went out and played. You played 36 the first day, and so I went out right after. and had a moment in the zone that I've never had before where I birdied 3 of the first 6.
That's awesome.
And so I was 3 under through 6. And on the par 5 on the 6th hole, I was in a sod seam and didn't know if it was relief or not. So I hit 2 balls, and the one that was plugged in the sod seam that I hit, I put to like 2 feet. And made birdie, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening.
Something's going on here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I ended up shooting 75, which was 3 over. So that's the new low. So I hit a new low there. And
wow.
And I think I shot 7 or 80 the third round, which was nice. So it's getting
good for
better
you.
and better. It's way different animal than just going out to play.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because your expectation, you're thinking about every shot, and you're meticulating over every single one.
But you hit that, like you got in the zone, like you're saying.
Yeah.
If you can find it, you can play some really good golf in those things. But it's funny. We Eric Reiner was on here, and he and I were talking about this. There's something about the fact of like they announce your name on the first hole, and it's like
it's like, something way different.
It's like, you said my name. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know, like,
why is my heart rate at 160 beats per minute right now? Yes.
When you had Heidi on, and she talked about how we announce her name on the first tee, and she was like, oh, it's like it's the same thing. It's like, oh my gosh. Like,
I don't get it.
Well, and it's like your peers are watching you, right?
Yes.
So you have a whole bunch of people that are head professionals and directors of golf at other courses in your area that you know, and they're just like all sitting there watching you on the putting green, and so it's a new.
But you're around them. It's not like it's like you played golf with them.
They don't care. Yeah.
And even like the club championship at Sycamore, like I was nervous, and there was nobody on the first tee except for the people I was playing with.
Yeah.
And I'm
but
just
it means
like,
you care, right?
Yes,
I mean, you care.
Well, you build it up. You're like, man, I want to do well in this tournament and stuff like that. And then you get to the day, and you just kind of enter into. You either have it or you don't have it.
Yeah.
And this year it was at the Sycamore Ridge Club Championship. It was brutal weather conditions.
Was it?
Oh my gosh, it was so cold. The first day it was fine. The second day it was like 40 degrees with like 20-mile-an-hour wind. It felt like set 32 or something like that. It was like horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could just remember getting done with the round and just being like, I was never warm, like the whole time. And I played really bad. Like I think I shot the first round. First round, I think I shot 10 over on the first 9. And then, no, that's not right. 8 over. I think I went 8 over, and then I shot even on the back 9.
Yeah, okay.
And
awesome.
The guy, I remember Tom Clifford said, he goes, if you can keep this going tomorrow, you'll do pretty well.
Thanks.
It didn't happen.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
But actually, the funny thing is the scores that came in the second day, my score wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It was so hard. But there were other people that played really well, and that was that's the thing about golf. You just gotta get into it and find your way.
Yeah.
No one else is gonna do it for you. You gotta do it yourself.
He talked about it. I think Austin talked about it a little bit ago when he was on your podcast too, and I'm good friends with him. And but for those first 6 holes, there was literally no thought. It was just I want to hit it here. And I hit it, and it went there. And then I was like, okay, now we want to hit it here. And then I walked up, and I made like something silly in putts. I don't know what it was. It was probably like 100 feet of putts and 3 holes. I mean, there was nowhere near the hole and just making everything.
Yeah.
And
don't you wish you could just like flip a switch in your brain and you could do that? It's like,
why don't you just do that going forward? Just pick a target, swing to it, and just play like that the whole time.
But you try to duplicate it like the next day, and it's like goes horribly wrong.
You hit a terrible shot, and you're like, okay, reset, redo the whole thing.
What was in my body and mind yesterday that allowed me to do this, and now I can't even hold a golf club?
Right.
That's what happens to me.
Yep. And our expectations are ridiculous, even towards the amateur level, because you're like, you hit the green, and you're disappointed, and you're like, no, in regulation, as long as you have a birdie putt, it's you played the hole well. And you look at like proximity to the hole stats for PGA Tour and how far away they are with certain irons, and you're like, oh, I'm in that realm.
Your realm, yeah.
It's just like I can't do it on a consistent basis. But if you hit a shot like that and you're disappointed, it's like
you're on the green. Yeah. That's what there was I was watching. Oh my gosh, was the Farmers Open? It was just on, out at Torrey Pines. I was watching that, and they had I don't even know what hole it was, a par 3. And I was just watching the featured holes because I had like a bunch of basketball games on. I had that in the corner. I was just kind of watching it every now and then. And there were so many times that someone would hit a shot and they'd be like, oh, like kind of slam their club down or be frustrated. And they were probably 25 feet from the hole. And I'm like, every time I'd be like, oh, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. And then they end up probably making it when you go back to
there was one guy that did a birdie. And you're like, good gosh. Like, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing you have to remember in golf is even in all those bad shots,
Yep.
like something happens, you can hit a great shot after that. Like
Yep.
for case in point, like some friends of mine were playing, lost a ball off the tee on a par 5, just blew it away, right? Lost the ball. Well, it was playing as a lateral, so they could go up there and drop where it crossed the line, drops, hits it to like 3 feet, makes birdie. On a lost ball. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And that's the thing. It's like, if, you can be upset with yourself. You can, there's no, I'm not a believer in don't ever be upset.
Sure.
I think sometimes you have to get that frustration out, but do it in first off, you're in public, do it in a public manner. Yeah. Don't do it in a really jerk way.
Sure.
Be frustrated with yourself. It's only you that you've done it to, but then regroup. Yeah. It's okay. Yep. Like I have to get it out every once in a while. You need to get that anger out or, upset, and just be polite about it.
Yeah. Tiger talked about that all the time too. I read that the other day. He has a 10-step rule. Oh. So he can be mad.
Yeah. For 10 steps.
For that 10 steps. But once he hits that 10th step, it's shut down and go to the next shot.
I think it's a great point.
So good.
Because you're only going to hurt yourself if you continue to be frustrated by it. And that's what you're kind of talking about. Like when you were saying, see the shot, pick a target, boom. That's what you were essentially doing. Yep. You were like, okay, there's nothing else in this moment except right here. Let me focus on that. Yeah. And that's really hard to do.
Sure, it is. Because like you said, you hit one bad shot and you shut down completely. Off. Yeah, and it's so hard to be mentally focused on just saying, okay, I just hit a bad shot. It's normal. It's going to happen. And then moving on and doing the same thing in the very next one and just thinking about what you're going to do, from there. So
it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, those days that you play so well, and you just are in a different world. You literally go, well, how did I do that? Like sometimes you do. You're just like, I just had it. Like, and you hear the professionals say, I just had it today. Yep. They don't say like, well, some of them do. They say, I was working on that and I'm working on this and that's what I wanted. Yeah. They put the work in though. They went practice and then went into play. They trusted it. They trusted it and played.
Just go and play. Yeah. It's I do now when I get to the tee, I basically start the whole green light, right? So wherever you hit your green light to go for birdie or go for eagle or whatever you're trying to do, that first shot's green light. And then from there, you kind of reassess. After what you hit the tee shot is, it's like, what do I need to do to get back to green light? And
I love that.
Yeah, just making sure that bogey is the worst you can make, because there's really few scenarios where double's good. Yeah. Right? You had a terrible shot, you weren't thinking, or you're not focused and 3-putt green or whatnot, because you're thinking about all the bad things that are going on. So
there's
it's just
too
one
many
at a time.
Yeah, and there's too many times you bring up a really good point, double bogey. Keep yourself from getting to double bogey. Yeah. Just if you lose a ball off the tee, that's fine. Yep. Regroup. Or if you hit it into really tall rough or really, fescue or something like that, native areas or something like that, get it back in play. Yep. Just get back in play. Yep. You don't have to be a superhero and get it on the green from, wherever the heck you're going to do it. You don't have, if you're in a sod seam, you don't have to put it to like 4 inches or whatever.
That was pure luck, but I'll take it.
See, exactly. Pure luck. Not everyone's going to do it. Yep. So
it just happens and you laugh about it and move on. Yeah.
So what's ahead for you? 2021 or beyond?
It was always the goal to be a general manager is what I'm looking forward to, but where I'm at now, I think is amazing. It's a cool spot to, for 16 years not being able to do, I hadn't done a job interview or put a resume together, because I was just at OP all the time. And
what's a computer?
Yeah, right. It's like, how do I'm looking at resumes and how they were built and what, is good and bad. And that was all good for me personally. Yeah. But James and Luke, James is the GM and then Luke's the director of golf, are two of the coolest people I'll ever work for.
Awesome.
And that's in 7 months of working there. How much, like I said, they've taught me. And so it'll be working through, my plan is to be at Milburn and just soak it all in. Nice. I have so much to learn at that point. It's not more like what I need to do as a golf professional, but how they see the growth. And there's just a little more time to do it at the private club side. Yeah. So I'm able to we do club fittings more where I'm out there, and so learning about how to fit clubs properly, and then doing the education on that, and
that's immense. When you talk about shafts and you talk about, oh my gosh, I struggle with that big time. I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like I'll be, it's like I understand. It's like, oh, I hit the ball low. I need a higher kick point or a lower kick point.
And it might not be that. It could just be
something else.
That's like the rule, but it could be something different.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And the technology that comes with that, and TrackMan and Flight Scope and all of that is pretty cool. But James talked about this the other day with us. It's just like a thirst for knowledge. Like you just want to keep getting better. It totally is.
Yeah. It's like, and then you're never satisfied.
Yeah.
Is because you're like, oh, I want to get to this club head speed. And then you're like,
sure.
Oh, but I want to get to that next mile per hour.
How do you get that? And that's like what everyone's focused on, right? With distance and everything is how do you get to there, and then short game suffers. But
that's crazy. What'd you think of Bryson DeChambeau hitting it, carrying it 360?
Yeah, and then won a U.S. Open right away. Yeah. So it's kind of like, can you really argue with the results? But
no.
Well, in the long run, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone made a good point the other day. I was watching a Tpi seminar because the PGA show went virtual this year.
Yeah.
So we were doing everything virtual.
I meant to do it, and I totally didn't do it. Was it? Nice.
A lot of cool stuff. They did a good job with it. I was impressed. Because, again, it was just like last second, right? I mean, you had to basically put that together in months of time, which normally that show's put together years ahead of time.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty cool.
But they talked about, like the top 10 in driving distance made millions of more dollars than the top most accurate drivers on tour last year.
Yeah.
And so it just proves that, the farther you hit the ball, the better chance you have to score. But
statistically proven
now, right? But someone's going to find another way to innovate. Bryson's just finding those ways to innovate and do something different, which I think you need, because then the sport's looking at itself, right? They're talking about golf ball scale back, and that's interesting because you have the two best players that have ever played the game both agree that it should be, and so it's interesting to see how it gets to that point. But
I think it's interesting just to go down that avenue, and I haven't looked at the golf ball scaling it back and stuff like that. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
But I think I liked what you said about he innovated. Mm-hmm. Bryson innovated to do something different, and that is truly how I've looked at it.
Yeah.
He didn't I don't compare what he did to what Tiger did. Tiger was
Patrick Reed is doing,
or what? Yeah, Patrick Reed is doing. Yes, but I don't. For some reason, it doesn't make sense. Tiger was a prodigy.
Yep.
That swung very, very hard.
Yeah.
Bryson looked at it and said, like, my body can take this. I can go harder. I can hit the ball further.
Yeah.
I don't think those are the same thing to me. The golf course, it was back when Tiger was coming into it. It needed a change. Tiger Woods was that change.
Yeah.
I don't think we really need a change right now.
But his dominance made the sport more fun to watch.
Absolutely,
people made it to watch because they had someone that they could watch and do it. And he was pure out, overpowering golf courses. You had Tiger-proofing golf courses.
Yeah. Which only made it easier for Tiger to win.
Yeah.
Because
he was the only one doing it at the time.
It's like, let's make them longer. Well, now the only person that can reach these is Tiger.
Yep.
That made no sense. Yeah. That's what I don't want to have happen. But, you said it made the game more fun. I think it made the game more fun to watch to a certain degree. At some point, it had a diminishing return.
Sure.
Because it was so fixated on Tiger at times.
It still kind of is.
It still is. And that's... there was the 2 or 3 years. Well, wasn't he gone for 2 years?
That was the worst.
You think so?
Oh.
I thought it was the best because
Brutal.
you got to finally see more golf.
Yep.
You got to see more people play, and you had no idea who was going to win the tournament.
Say on the other way, I want to see not only him dominant. It's kind of like Brady, right? Everyone's so sick of Brady.
True.
But this is going to be cool because it's like, Mahomes is the young kid.
Yeah.
Gets to go up straight ahead against this guy who's not even afraid. I mean, he's done this 10 times now.
I know. It's crazy
Tiger's
to think about.
Thing, all those young guys while he was gone were like, oh, yeah, I want Tiger in his prime. I want him in his prime. And then he comes on Augusta on Sunday, and he's right there, and everyone folds like a lawn chair.
Yeah.
And so I just want to see him go up against the best. I don't want, it doesn't really matter if I get the coverage spread apart, but ratings are driven,
what I mean.
Ratings are driven by, their ratings quadruple when he plays, so why wouldn't you put him on there?
No, I don't disagree, and all of it makes sense. I just think that there was a time where it was really fun to watch golf when he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to see that was kind of the Ricky Fowler era. That was Bubba Watson era. That was
he all created.
Yeah. I mean, and that was I think was it was a testament to what he had done.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you now.
Mm-hmm.
But now I will say that 2019 Masters when he won was was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in the country was tuned in at that
Oh
moment to
my
golf.
gosh!
And there's everything going on, and it was that
if there was a
moment,
person
it was
that
golf.
if there was a person that didn't want him to win, shame on them because it was like, oh my gosh! I remember just being like, oh my gosh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, right when 12 happened and Molinari put the ball in the water and Finau put the ball in the water and they're both sitting there and Tiger's just watching them on the green, like hands on hips. It was like, it's over.
Yes,
it's done.
I remember like sitting there. I'm like, oh my gosh, the door is opened.
Yep. And you knew he was like, he had a 1-stroke lead. There was 2 par 5s coming up, and it was like he's gonna birdie both of those, and he did. And then that shot on 16 was like, when it was about to go in, it was goosebumpy, and you're sitting there watching the TV, and you got goosebumps. It's so cool.
It was, yeah. What'd you think of this year, 2020, with Dustin Johnson winning?
Yeah, he deserved it. He's he's probably a more underrated player.
Oh,
I think.
Very much so.
Yeah, he is. Not a lot of people talk about him, but he's won a lot. I mean, you talk about like Brooks runs his mouth a lot, and everyone gets the focus on him. But Dustin's had a really good career.
Oh, incredible!
I mean, 20 some win, 20 plus wins, 24, 2 majors
25.
Now, right? Probably should have been 3 majors.
If you go back to Whistling, was it Whistling Straits?
It was with the bunker, and it was at a waste area and all that other stuff. But it's so much fun to watch. When Tiger went to Belle Reve in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was able to go see it live, see a major championship live, and it's just the atmosphere around it. It's crazy. It's so much fun to be around.
Yeah, the guy I play golf with out at Sycamore went, and he was just like, it was incredible to see, and just like, and he's a huge Tiger Woods fan. He was like, it was just incredible to see him. Yeah, like just walk, and I was like, wow. I don't know. I don't get like that. Like I think it's cool to see people and stuff like that, but like I don't know. I think I have more of a respect of like, I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, there's Tiger Woods.
He's the idol.
But I get it. Like it's like an infatuation, but it's cool. I mean, and it being in St. Louis was incredible. Yeah,
like that golf course is really cool though. It's kind of like
I've never been there. Yeah, I've never been there.
Why are they going there? But it's really cool.
and it looked really cool.
Yeah.
So
and that was our major. It's a PGA major. So I got the fortunate opportunity to go for free. We had people that live in St. Louis because of Paige's family. Yeah. And just walking up there, knowing like Tiger was coming back. He was coming back from injury, and he played really well at the Tour Championship. He had just won that at the end of the year. Yeah. And, so I think that was the same year actually, but he was playing really well. Mm-hmm. And Saturday and Sunday, Friday was a rain delay when we traveled up there.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
I had Saturday, Sunday off. So Saturday was 2 rounds of golf. So it was morning, afternoon. So I got there really early and just stayed all day long.
Oh, man.
And watched. But things you don't think about when you're watching him, like you have to be 4 or 5 holes ahead of him to see him.
To see him, yeah.
Because if you follow him, you're not going to ever see him because there's a bajillion
20,
people around
30 people deep going.
So you have to like plan out where you want to be to watch him. And so
he tees off at this time. By this time, he'll be here. We'll be here.
Yep.
We're
and we
knew,
there. 8 was a par 5 and 17 was a par 5. And that's where the stuff's going to happen. Normally the fireworks. And so you go camp out in the green up there to watch it. But it's just way different than what you could even think it would be. Because I've been to I'm a Nebraska fan. I've been to Nebraska football games. There's 95,000 people there in that atmosphere. And you don't think it's golf. It's not going to be replicated that way. Yeah. But it's that and then some. I mean, it's pretty amazing that there was a point on Sunday. We were on 8, watching on the green, and he was either tied or 1 back of Brooks, and he made birdie, and we knew Brooks was going to make birdie on 8 too because he was hitting the ball really well. Yeah. And so he made birdie, and it was kind of like a roar, but not really. And they got to 9, and he hit, I remember on 9, he hit his drive way left on the path. And so you could see everyone scrambling up there. And it was like, oh, no, he's going to give it right back. And here we go. And I remember he hit the shot from 9 onto the green to like 15 feet. And it was like stadium roar.
Oh, wow.
And so, everyone can hear that. Brooks can hear that. I mean, it's a big deal. And I remember when Brooks got to his putt, he had like a 5-foot putt, so you expect him to make it. But as he was stepping over his putt, Tiger made that 15-footer down the hill.
Oh, gosh.
And it was so electric. Like everyone around, it just filtered into the course all around. And Brooks just was over the putt, didn't step away or anything, drained the putt, walked on. I was like,
wow,
he's going to win.
Yeah. There was nothing bothering him. That was crazy. Yeah. It was back in the days of cool. Brooke being Brooke. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, what else? You got anything else you want to talk about, man? We've gone all over the place here.
Yeah. been good.
This is fun. You got to watch the Tiger documentary.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like the first thing I do. I need to get it because so many people, members, have come up to me. And like, have you watched it? Because they know I'm a Tiger fan. It's like I don't have HBO on because I'm streaming.
We're lucky we have it. Well, we use someone else's login, but
that's how you do it, right?
Yes, exactly. They use some of ours, so it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a trade off.
Give and take. Yeah,
it's like our parents.
Hopefully that doesn't change.
Netflix and Disney Plus, and they have you trade it off.
See,
it's fine.
Exactly.
It's good.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming down here, and this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
anytime. That's good. Thanks for having me.
Of course.